All right, what's going on, guys? Trev and...
Alrighty, guys, it is Qaaman here today.
And we're back, not again, but we're back to bring you a collab video. So as I told you guys, wanted to do one with Qaaman. If you haven't checked out his channel, he's got an amazing Dragon Ball related channel, just really awesome channel. So definitely check it out. And what we'll do with this one, this is going to be a Q&A answering your guys' questions. So we're going to be going through, we'll each give our answers to each of your guys' questions. Got some really good ones. And we'll cut the video in half. So the first half will be in my channel, and the second half will be in Qaaman's channel. So, all right, so I guess we can pretty much get started with the first question. So the first question comes from Lily Athena 738, and she says, "Hey Trev and Qaaman, would you please give your reasons on why you are on Carol's side with Morgan body slamming her?" I guess this is more geared towards me. I haven't heard your opinion on this yet.
Wow, I mean, the first thing I think about is... the thing is, Morgan, he's completely transitioned as, from what we originally knew him from, where, he was going crazy in, what was it, season 3, Trev, or was that season 4?
Yeah, no, that's at season 3, you got it, yeah.
Right, and, basically I found that kind of interesting because, he was, this really, really, crazy guy, and he's, transitioned, and I'm kind of on Carol's side because he's practically responsible for, all of the things that took place with the wolves. He almost got Rick killed, and now... now he let the wolf get loose, so I definitely am on Carol's side myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I've kind of given my thoughts on this sort of already once we saw the episode and that, but, there's a certain extent to where you have to kind of, question your kind of rules, because he's got that kind of philosophy to never break his code, so to speak, where he'll never kill or allow somebody to be killed, this kind of deal, right?
Right.
But there's exceptions to every rule. If you get a guy you get a group like the Wolves where they attack you and they kill, so many people and they do all this. He's lucky. Carol would have killed him on the spot immediately, right? If she had been the one to, run into him in that house there at the end of the episodes at JSS when they attacked. So, yeah, at least I'm behind Carol 100%. So.
Same here.
Yeah, for sure. Next part, she says, personally, I am in the minority. I am 100% behind Morgan. Carol had threatened to kill him. He had every right to body slam her. Carol needs to check herself before she wrecks herself. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like her, but I think she needed to be stopped, and sadly, it took being knocked out.
Yeah, that's crazy. Honestly, it's kind of a complicated situation because obviously, Carol has a very aggressive ideology on the situation, but at the same time, I feel like, Morgan is really the guy to blame. You don't let a person like the wolf in that world escape.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. We're not saying you're wrong, Lily Athena. It's just we're on Carol's side with regards to this. You got to defend yourself, right? And they attacked, so he's lucky to even still be alive. I would say. I think Carol, she probably, she should have probably finished that. Morgan should have let her, but it is what it is, right? So he's doing an ethical thing too by allowing him to survive too, right? So yeah, by protecting somebody. So I get that too. So I guess I can kind of see her side. And next question is going to actually be for you, Qaaman. This one's actually for me. What did you think of Fear the Walking Dead?
Wow. I saw every episode, and I thought it was good, although not as exciting as The Walking Dead. Obviously, Trev, they're starting off on a different notion where they're kind of, engaging the audience into, becoming a part of the apocalypse. So they have to write it a different way. I do like some of the interesting characters, although there is one thing that I've always wanted to ask you, Trev, okay. And I've always personally felt this way. I feel like there's no real main character. If you look at the entire cast, obviously if you start off with Walking Dead, Rick was clearly the protagonist. You could obviously look at Shane as the anti-hero, but it's in The Walking Dead, who is the main character? I don't feel it,
Yeah, no, I know what you mean exactly, where within the original Walking Dead, you had Rick at the forefront. He's on the cover. He's the main kind of, and even the cover. If you look at the Blu-ray DVD cover of Fear the Walking Dead, there is no like, it's not like there's Rick on the cover. It's like it kind of shows like zombies. I think it's like basketball or something like that in L.A. But I understand what you mean exactly. Where you don't have like a Rick Grimes for Fear the Walking Dead yet, and we don't really know if we're actually going to get one. Seems like they've gone with more of kind of a spread out approach where they have a lot of different characters, but we don't really have a strong Rick yet. And I don't feel like Travis is there. Trev, at first I actually originally thought that Nick was, the protagonist, obviously because the series started off with him, but then as the series moved on, I started to think that it was Madison, but even after that, I was starting to think it's leaning more towards Travis because he was the one who had to make the major decision at the end of the season. No spoilers for those of you who haven't seen it. Yeah, no, exactly. You're exactly right. It's swapped, eh? That's true. Like earlier on, too, I felt the same way. I thought Nick was kind of like the lead, and then Madison I figured was going to be. And then it's kind of switched to Travis, too, at the end. So it's just a little weird for sure. So, but that's cool to hear. I haven't heard your thoughts yet on Fear, so that's interesting. So it gets mixed. It gets like mixed reviews. I've heard some people, in the channel that watch The Walking Dead, they like it a lot, and then other people who didn't really care for Fear so much. So. Yeah, but you thought it was like good, like pretty good anyway.
Pretty solid, but not great.
Cool. All right, next question for both of us is: do we think baby Judith is going to survive this whole No Way Out situation? And we'll try to keep this one kind of. We'll try to dance around spoilers and be careful with spoilers with this one if you've read the comic book series, right? So you kind of know, but it's different because in the TV series you've got Judith who's. She's alive still in the comic book series. She wasn't actually alive at this point, as far as we know anyway. And she's under Carl's kind of blood cloak.
Blanket.
Guts blanket. So what do you think about this one? Do you think she's going to be killed right now, like as soon as the season comes back?
Well, let's just say, Trev, I am aware of, the spoilers that are going to take place at the beginning of the next season. But factoring that out, not factoring that in, I'd have to say yes, because it just seems kind of weird if she were to be killed off, considering, that this is a television versus a comic book, and it would seem kind of a little going too far if you kill a baby, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So you think she's going to make it somehow, like yes. Maybe, if that's one thing about it too, is like she doesn't really cry. It's actually Sam that's the one who's causing the ruckus right now, eh? So.
Ironically.
Yeah, she doesn't, so, I think I agree with you 100%. I think she's going to make it. I'd be pretty shocked if she didn't. And I don't know what the rules are in terms of, like, showing a, baby getting killed in a cable TV. Like, it's possible they may not be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that would just be, like, for their policy and stuff would just be too brutal or something for them to show. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think she's going to make it, too. That was a good question. Next one's from Ginger Liam, and... here she says, hey, Trev and Qaaman, how do you feel about the fact that we only saw Daryl properly in one episode? And he says, we saw a few cutaway shots of his, of him on his bike before, but he says he feels that he needed more. Abraham is fun to watch destroying zombies too, and Ginger. Maybe. Hopefully they'll show up way more in the next half season. So his core question really for you was, how did we feel about kind of the amount of time that Daryl got and maybe kind of Abraham too? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I feel that Daryl is one of those characters that they're kind of saving for, like, the next arc, in which, obviously, Trev, we've seen, like, the trailers for it. I think they were kind of just, letting Norman Reedus do his thing, because, correct me if I'm wrong, Trev, like, Norman Reedus is planning on doing, like, some show where he's, like, on a horse or something.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. He's been working on other projects. He's got a movie called 999, and he's just had a bunch of other stuff he's been working on, too. So maybe you're right. Maybe he didn't have as much time in filming, and they kind of had to work around that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And also because they're probably saving up his arc for next...
Right, and that'll get his time, too. Because he's kind of got the start of this thing with him and Dwight. So, this kind of rivalry. Or Dwight stole his crossbows. So, there's got to be, revenge for that. That's for sure. So, I hear what you're saying exactly. So, very cool. And we'll do a couple more for this half, and then we'll go to the other half, I think. All right, next one is from Matt89TT19. So, it's Matt8919. Q&A question for you. After the mid-season finale, do you think Morgan will change his ways and realize some people just need to be killed?
I'm going to say no, Trev, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I think unless something major catastrophic happens, I think Morgan will probably either be killed by one of his own members, and I know that sounds bizarre. They could ad-lib it, considering some of the major comic book things that haven't taken place yet. So Morgan would probably be ousted by his own group, or he would have to make a drastic change, and I just don't see it happening considering, the fact that, Eastman was such a major part of his life, and that impact on him and, his impacts on peace, I think it's just too much to alter.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, with the way he mentioned he has this code to kind of never do it again. So that's
right.
The whole thing about it is, like, that's his philosophy.
His motto.
Yeah, his motto that he will never do this again. So I think you're right. Maybe he is too far gone the other way. So the way where he's too set now that he won't do that. It's kind of weird the way they kind of took his character, at the end of season 5 into season 6, where we didn't really know what to expect, and now we're at this point here where he's like total opposite to where he used to be, like you were talking about with Clear earlier, right? So.
Right.
Yeah, season 3. Oh, interesting stuff. Okay, cool. And then we'll do one more for this one, and I think we'll cut it, and then we'll do the other half in your channel. So we'll put the link in the description to everybody as well as I'll put it in the annotation here so you can watch the second half. We're going to continue. But the last question for this one wrap up is from Uncle Daniel, and he says, what Walking Dead death was the most shocking for you?
Wow, this probably seems like a pretty good feature question, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, Trev, I mean, this is going to sound very generic, but, I mean, I'm going to have to go with it. It's when Sophia came out of the barn. I mean, that really shocked me. Although I would also argue that Herschel's death was shocking, but at the same time, since I read the comic book, as soon as I saw Herschel in that similar manner to what happened to an ex-character in the comic book that I won't say for spoiler purposes, I kind of knew that Herschel's fate was kind of sealed once I started seeing, things building up the way it did. So I think that Sophia would definitely probably have to be 1, and I really can't think of anybody who even comes close to 2. I mean, yeah. Oh, and Andrea to some degree, but we kind of saw that coming because of the noise that took place. So yeah, it's Andrea and Sophia are my top 2. If I had to squeeze in a third, I'd have to go with Noah, only because of the shock factor. Like, his death was so unexpected. Like, I didn't see it coming,
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
So those are my 3.
Awesome, that's a good 3, man. I agree with you. Those were all really crazy, shocking deaths with Noah. Noah, too, yeah, like you said, because we had nothing to go by, because he's not a character in the comic book series that we kind of had any idea. And he was fairly new, so it was pretty shocking to see him be killed off just like that. So that was a huge one, and in the manner, too. I think it matters, like, depending on if a character's shot or something, or if they're, like, devoured by zombies. Right. So that was shocking, man. Yeah.
I mean, scary enough, Trev, I completely almost forgot, as an honorable mention, Beth's death was also pretty shocking, too. I didn't see that coming at all. I wouldn't put her in my top 3, but Beth's death is probably an honorable mention. Like, I didn't expect her to get shot like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. There was so many. You're right that all those are great ones. For me, this is a tough one to answer, just like for you. All the ones you brought up were, especially Sophia in the barn, because I did not see that coming, and like nobody else expected that either. From what I remember seeing online, nobody was like, "Oh, she's in the barn," when they were around looking for her. There was basically nobody who was like, "Oh, she's in the barn." It just didn't, how a lot of times you'll see theories. I'm sure you see this a lot with Dragon Ball Super or whatever. When you're watching a show, somebody will call something ahead of time. Nobody called that. Nobody called that Sophia would be in the barn when they were looking around for her. So that was really shocking just to come out all of a sudden. Then for me, I'd have to go with 2. Andrea, like you said, that was a huge one because I really didn't expect that either. And then there was Lori was pretty shocking too to actually see it. And same with T-Dog too. Like at that moment in that episode, Killer Within, I really didn't think they were going to do it at that time, and I didn't see it coming. It was so fast. So that was a big one too. And then all the other ones you mentioned were huge too. So awesome stuff, man. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up here. We'll do the other half of the video, the other questions in your channel. So everybody to my channel, check out his channel, subscribe to his channel, and we'll continue the video there.